So a part of me hopes I am so wrong, but it's always, not always, but 8 times out of 10, the really nice person in the beginning has something to do with the foolery and the trickery and the evil of the book. So I am reading this book, which I'm mad the title keeps eluding me, but you see the title of the book. And so it kind of goes back and forth. So you have Jawad, who I think I'm pronouncing his name wrong. He is suspected of bringing a bomb to school. It's a makerspace project. But because he's Islamic, because he's Muslim, I forgot where they're from, they automatically assume he has a real bomb. He gets arrested, gets recommended for expulsion, then they find out the thing is fake. But it follows him, okay? Literally follows him to the point, eventually he's found dead in a field. We know he's dead, but the people in the book don't know he's dead yet. It keeps going back and forth to what happened to him and now current time, where now he's missing. They think he's kidnapped. Now someone thinks he's not kidnapped because a text came from his phone saying, "Mom and Dad, I just couldn't deal with it. I'm over it." But Mom and Dad knew automatically, no, that wasn't him texting from the phone. That's a hoax, because he never called his mom and dad, okay? It was a certain name he said. And for those of you who are familiar with that culture, you will know exactly what he said. I know he calls his mom Mama, and he called his dad something else. So you have Safiya, who she's a Muslim too. I forgot where she's from. They're not from all the same country. And she's an investigative reporter. She reports, she's the editor-in-chief of her newspaper. And their school paper gets hacked with some very racist sayings. And that's when she starts going on the hunt to find out who's doing this. Then a swastika ends up on their building at the private school. The principal shuts her down from the newspaper being hacked because he thought she had something to do, but she does have nothing to do with it. But then you have this guy named Richard, who Richard is very sweet on Safiya. I feel like it should be Safiya, but I might be saying it wrong. Safiya. And I just don't trust him. White boy, I didn't trust him. I don't trust him. And I hope I'm wrong. So it comes out that Nate, who you find out who he is later on, she suspects that Nate is behind all this because she found some very compelling evidence. Nate comes off as very quiet, but he said something in class that linked to everything else that's been going on, because her crew, they literally are investigative reporters. Like, now I see why you always see great detective movies. They're always linked in with the reporter, because it's the same thing. So he turns around, and they know he was in London, but something went down in London that still links Nate to this crime. And there's a series of crimes that's been going down. So then she finds out, because this girl who is crazy, her name is Dakota, she likes Richard, but she knows that Richard does not like her. She is determined to get Safiya them and Richard not to be together. So she lets it come out of her mouth that Richard was in London. Safiya doesn't know that Richard was in London. And why wouldn't he tell me? Because he tells me everything else. Why wouldn't he tell me he's in London? And I already thought, because Safiya broke into Nate's locker, okay, and found this note, which is from this German philosopher who is known for some of the ideology that Hitler and everyone came up with. Like, he's part of this, okay? I don't know if this is a real person. I'm going to look that up, and if I find out, I will put that in the video. So he had this piece of paper in his locker that was torn out of the book that she found in the library. He confronts her because somehow he knows that she took this letter out of his locker. Now, of course, she's not going to let him know I did it. But what puts the two people together is Richard shows up right behind her when she goes to her, pretends like she was at her locker when she was really just coming from Nate's locker. So I'm wondering, this whole time Richard saw her, told Nate, then Nate confronts her, but then Richard shows up like the knight in shining armor. Like, don't be confronting her being my girl's face like that, and kind of find out he's behind it the whole time. Because a big clue I just told y'all, the whole point of the book, Jawad is dead. No one knows he's dead, but he's dead. Okay, and his ghost is following Safiya because he thinks Safiya is going to be the one to find out what's happening. When I say this is the hardest book to read, this is because the fact that you would treat someone like, I have a hard time dealing with slavery books myself, or any that with the brutal reality of racism. It's hard for me to read, and this is one of those books that's hard for me to read, but it needs to be read. People need to read about it, because sadly, this is real life.